that I've hit that threshold without going through the entire life cycle process. It's not like an EPD. It's not like an energy where I'm only measuring one piece. I'm looking at the entire life cycle. So if at the end of the day, whatever that, and I don't quite know how to get at that 10% if you're looking at multiple impacts. So is it 3% of one impact and 4% of another impact and 7% of another impact, and that is more than 10%? How do I know I've hit that level of materiality until I do the entire life cycle evaluation of that chemistry?
I think you have the possibility to do some what I would call screening or checking. I mean, if I know I have a completely new ingredient to a significant level in my product, whatever, a new chemical which I haven't looked at before, then I can of course make a worst case estimate and say, well, what of the chemicals I'm using today has the highest profile, and if I would assume that is whatever 10% of a new ingredient I have, then I can make an estimation, can it have a significant impact? If I'm not sure that it has not, then you're right, you probably need to look deeper. But I think, to be honest, you can screen out a lot of the minor deviations and formulations especially by assuming, well, if I really have something I know already and I increase it by a bit, I can calculate it very easy. If I do not know what it is, what would be my worst case assumption on what is the stuff I'm using at the moment, chemically similar, and then I can make an estimate. And if the estimate is not clear, I agree you would have to do a bit of more work and look into, could it a significant change?
Okay, I think we leave it here. Michael, please put the question that might be relevant to everybody here. If it's really only for you relevant, then maybe we do this in the coffee break.
Well, come on. Okay. I have 3 questions, some of them very simple to answer. I mean, we haven't talked about weighting so far. I heard that you can reduce the number of impact categories. I'm also interested in, because when we see pictures of a label, it reminds me more on weighting rather than on having a selection of known impact categories, as you mentioned them in the drafts. That's one question. The other question goes to the data center. Maybe we talk about that later, but it's also about, is it also looking at the inventories? Because the inventories can be quite complex. I mean, it's not a carbon inventory what we're talking about. We're talking about toxicity, and I know